Hello, and welcome to our viewers today. Thank you for joining us as we continue to explore important topics fielding right now in the 2022 Military Family Lifestyle Survey. You can find the link to the survey in the comments of today's video. As many of you know, Blue Star Families has been on a mission since 2009 to magnify the voices of military families. The annual survey has been a key component of that, and your answers are moving mountains. Today, we are going to focus on community, more specifically, the sense of belonging that many military-connected families fail to feel where they reside. According to the 2021 Military Family Lifestyle Survey conducted by Blue Star Families, only 30% of active duty family respondents reported feeling a sense of belonging to their local civilian communities. Many factors contribute to this. Only 19% of active duty family respondents agreed civilians in their local community truly understand the sacrifices made by local military and veteran families. However, half agree civilians in their local community are supportive of local military and veteran families. Civilian understanding of military and veteran issues was cited by Veteran Reserve and National Guard family respondents as a top 5 issue affecting military families. It is important to note the majority of respondents to the Military Family Lifestyle Survey have historically been active duty spouses. Spouses are the backbone of military families and are often the ones who are charged with connecting their families to resources, enrolling their children in schools, and finding new employment in each community. We will approach today's discussion in a few ways. First, we will see how one military spouse used social media to generate his own innovative community and how that is impacting its now thousands of users. Then we will speak to Blue Star Families chapter directors to hear the creative ways they are bridging the divide between military and civilian communities. And last, we will hear from 2 Blue Star Families volunteers on the importance of personal efforts to better your own sense of belonging. Let's get started. I'd like to introduce Matthew Shanks, an active duty Army spouse, father of 2, former aerospace engineer and triathlete trainer. Matthew created a military social network, essentially, including the Kovii app, Facebook groups like Military Spouses Meet New Friends, and the MilSpocial app. Welcome, Matthew. Also with us is Kayla Ortiz. Kayla is a Marine Corps spouse currently located at Camp Lejeune. She is a member of Matthew's military social network. And thank you for joining us today also, Kayla. All right, so if you are interested in learning more about Matthew's story, make sure to read our recent blog post about him. You can find the link in the chat, but I'm sure viewers who haven't heard of this social network you've created, Matthew, are interested in hearing more about what exactly this is. Can you briefly describe what Kovii and MilSpocial are and why you created them and their overall purpose?
Sure. Thank you for having my friend Kayla on today. My journey in helping people connect more meaningfully started in the 2020 shutdowns when I was at home 24/7 alone with my 6-month-old at the time and going crazy in that isolation. I created the Kovii app. I had an idea for it and went ahead and made it. And it's the only video chat app that will connect you with a friend anytime you're in the mood to talk, but you know who to call. Does this by notifying the circle of your contacts anytime you feel available to let them know that you'd like to chat with them if they happen to be free. It's a really cool thing to be able to toggle available and then get a call from the one friend who you most wanted to talk, who most wants to talk to you right at that moment. So like when I had Levi and would say, hey, here's a good time to talk. I never knew because I've got an infant. They don't have a schedule. But there were plenty of times when I had a moment free and I didn't know who wanted to talk to me. So app that's announceable. I showed this to the military house community because I thought, like myself, they would like it, and they really did love it. But I also heard people say they wanted new friends, and in addition to being able to stay in touch with current friends and family. And from that, I started creating new solutions. I really believe that friendships matter more than just about anything for our overall well-being and mental health. With a friend, your friend is your first resource to thing and everything. So I started trying to help people make friends, but it's really hard to do. No surprise when you see so many people looking for friends that it's not easy to come about naturally. But over the last year, we've gotten pretty good at facilitating friendships over our different programs and events and apps. We have a small group program. We match people and they chat, and then at the end meet up in an in-person event where it's hosted by other organizations. And we have speed friending events, which help people chat to a number of people to find out who they're compatible with. And then we created a new app, MilSpocial, MilSpocial. And that was created to host those events programs that we already have to have a better platform for them. And we also have a swipe to match feature where you match with, where you swipe profiles and then can chat with your matches, and also find people to talk to on Kovii to make those first connections on the MilSpocial app.
That's fantastic, Matthew. And what an innovative way to connect a community that often feels really isolated. So Kayla, you are part of this growing social network that Matthew has created. Why did you join, and what has this experience been like for you?
Hi. Yes, it's been quite the journey. I joined because making friends in the military community is difficult. And then throw in a PCS or COVID, and it makes it 10 times worse. So depending on your personality, you may meet people faster than others in this military spouse life. But those people are just acquaintances. And don't get me wrong, acquaintances, there's a time and place for them. But we all long for deeper connection or community. And so finding your tribe or the group of friends that share similar values and common interests is extremely important to thrive in this lifestyle. We all know this lifestyle is hard and you don't want to do it alone, so you need support. So what Matthew is doing, I was on Facebook one day and I saw his post about finding community, and he's posing a question: what if there's an easier way? Basically, you'll find your perfect friend. He'll do it for you. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll join this friendship builder program. He put us in a group, Facebook group, where we, Facebook messaged with about 8 people. And we chatted for about a week on different topics. And then we meet in person at an event. And what was really cool and different than the events I'd been to in the past of just like unit events, everyone was on the same page of wanting to make friends. So there was no awkward, like, hey, do you want to be my friend? Do you want to talk? Everyone was just like off the table. Everyone was there to make friends. You could exchange numbers without feeling awkward. You can ask them questions, whatever. So, if they came to that event, they wanted friends. Okay. Then a few months later, he creates an app that does this stuff automatically. Like, it's like Tinder, where we swipe right, and if we match, we chat. So ideally, both parties, after they match, they chat for a bit, and then they talk for a little bit, and ideally, this is the problem we're trying to fix. They come to a speed friending event, which right now we're doing them virtually, but we'd like to do in person more. And it's where we all kind of jump on a group call and talk to people as a group first, and then introduce ourselves. And then we sign off, and we do about 10-minute one-on-one phone calls. So it allows you to break the awkwardness of talking in person when you're meeting for the first time. So it's kind of strange concept. But it's basically speed dating for friends. But I've been doing this for a while and recently met a real life friend with it. So it's actually really worked. We've done it a few times now where we've met up in person. And I think speed friending really helped accelerate that friendship. There was no awkwardness when we met. We kind of felt like we knew each other already. And we were both on the same page about, hey, you want to be friends? Yes. And so that was really nice. So it's been really fun. And I will say, yeah, this process of making a friendship only took about 2 weeks with the app. And without the app, in my past experience, it's taken months to make, a close friend where I can actually talk to about deeper stuff than, hey, how are you?
That's wonderful that you bring up that point, because oftentimes we meet someone, right, in maybe a unit function or something like that, and then we don't see them again for a really long time. So essentially what, Matthew has created gives you a way to circle back with somebody after you meet them. Now, Matthew, how do you see this social network growing, and what is it going to take to reach more of the military spouse community?
Kayla hit some really points, and then those, I think, are the answer to how we are growing. There's a bunch of initiatives out there from a multitude of organizations for people to meet. And basically, I look at those and I think, what are the barriers that prevent people from either attending in the first place or follow up with people and forming a deep connection. And so I help people to the event by helping them a few people before they go, and then I pair up with those organizations so that I'm not recreating what already exists. Other organizations already have these events, so I need to create them. I need to help bring people to them. So I address that, and the follow-up part is kind of how do it beyond just the acquaintance level friendships and be the friend you can open up about anything. So you're not going to Facebook to spill out all your personal details to a public group. And that comes from us trying all sorts of different things with discussion topics and the speed friending events where you're talking to people one-on-one, but it's all based on getting people to meet lots of people, so you can find somebody you're actually compatible with, rather than just being stuck with the first person you come across. And then kind of enabling or facilitating the repeated interaction necessary to go from vague acquaintance to deeper friend. So we're already growing, but the things that we really need are support from community, just awareness, and then right now this is run by myself and a handful of volunteers. We have no money. All the money that we spend comes from my wife's paycheck, and paying for her daycare is really stressful when I'm home working on this but not making any money. So we really need to working on getting some sponsors to pay for the next level of app upgrades, and use the technology even better. And we need bigger organizations to work with for us to partner with to send people to the events. But we're a really collaborative organization, and we need more awareness to have more people to collaborate with.
Absolutely. We can attest to that at Blue Star Families. We started from a handful of military spouses that wanted to make an impact in 2009, and blossomed into one of the largest nonprofit organizations that supports military families. So it's coming, Matthew, I promise. Your support will be there. We'll continue to get word out about this great network to bridge the divide for military families. So Kayla, we're just going to circle back to you for a moment. What do you think it's going to take to get those that are reporting this lack of belonging where they live to look to social media, look to this military social network as an outlet for finding their next friendship circle, like you did, or squad, if you will?
So finding community through social media is not a new idea for the younger generation of spouses, especially military spouses. This community, you say, hey, I'm PCSing to Camp Lejeune, and is anyone there? You go Camp Lejeune, military spouse, Facebook, click, you're in. You got lots of people. The problem is with these people, you'll say, hey, I need friends, and then 30 comments will say me. And I've been on the receiving end of that. I put me, but no one actually takes the initiative to meet up. They're all too scared. I mean, you might chat and add them as a friend for a few days. You might chat, but then it's just going to die. It takes a lot of effort. There's just awkwardness and everything. So what's great about the Military Social Network and the Facebook group, it finds people where they already are. They're on social media, but it gives them the actual tools and speed friending events like the app. It gives them tools to actually use stuff that's been proven to work, to really connect people on a personal level and to get past that awkwardness. I think we all need friends. We just have to move past that awkwardness. And these the app and the speed friending definitely help with that for any introvert, that's for sure.
Well, fantastic. Thank you to Matthew and Kayla for joining us and offering a glimpse into what has grown into a resourceful outlet for the military community, and more specifically, military spouse community. Sorry, I'm on an installation. Of course, there are flyovers. So the social network allows you to additionally see where others are located and report where you're going in order to meet new friends. And that's kind of what Kayla spoke to a little bit. Anywhere you go, you can meet new friends. But this gives you a way, in a broader sense, to really dive in and connect on a one-on-one sort of way. So if you are connecting virtually to other spouses and to community resources, you can share those experiences in our currently fielding 2022 MFLS. We ask about your vital connections and how to access resources needed for your family. So our next set of guests are approaching connectivity on the front lines and chapter locations across Blue Star Families Nation, working to generate a sense of belonging for active duty, veteran, reserve, and National Guard families. As a child, Army veteran and veteran spouse Missouri chapter director, Ty Kimes, knows all about the stresses and struggles of military families. She works with civilian and military partners in Missouri to bring greater educational and caregiver empowerment to the area. Welcome, Ty. And then next, Dr. Jerry Maples is a veteran military spouse and caregiver. She can be seen in the Dayton area sponsoring youth sports teams, putting together care packages for the veteran community, and speaking to legislators on caregiver and veteran needs. Welcome, Dr. Maples. All right, I'd like to begin by highlighting some of the concerns that you are both seeing in the military communities that you serve when it comes to military family sense of belonging in your areas. Ty, what are some of the impacts you are seeing firsthand in Missouri for military families that aren't feeling a sense of belonging?
Yes. Hi, Adrienne. Thank you so much for hosting this and for inviting me. On the ground, you see so much. I mean, really, for me, what stems out, especially here in Missouri, but I think it goes across all chapters and nationwide, is, the lack of a sense of belonging. It kind of breeds isolation, right? So you have isolation, it breeds poor mental health and unhealthy relationship behaviors. You might feel like you're alone with whatever it is that you're dealing with. This is seen in adults, it's seen in youth, it's seen in teens. Matter of fact, our survey last year, we have some health and mental health stats. 41% of our active duty family respondents had rated their adolescent oldest child's mental health as fair, poor, or very poor. 21% of active duty family member respondents did not currently receive mental health care, but would like to. And 1 in 10 active duty spouses respondents have experienced one or more unhealthy relationship behaviors in the past year. So those are like really important numbers, and it really kind of speaks the truth. I did an event, women's empowerment event back in May, and one of the military spouses kind of approached me, and she shared with me that she had been isolated. She's like, Ty, I've been here for a while, but I really didn't have anyone. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel like I could connect. And I'm dealing with postpartum and I'm dealing with all these issues. But she was around so many other women and so many other people that she could relate to. So she didn't feel like she was by herself. So she could realize that there were other people there, not only to support her, but there are resources available for her that she wouldn't have been able to find. So here in this area within Blue Star Families in Missouri, it's really important for me to continue to do those things to make sure people know that they're not alone and that we welcome them and they have that sense of belonging. growing up military, I always like to say, I was born, raised, and chosen the military life, but that lifestyle, it's difficult to have that sense of belonging. And I know Blue Star Families is obsessed with ensuring that our members feel like they belong to the communities that they live in. So it's really, really important for me, as well as for Blue Star Families, to make sure that we create more moments where we can kind of address those issues, and see those numbers kind of go lower, especially with those stats.
Phenomenal. And you are doing such impactful work, Ty. Thank you so much for being here and then speaking to that also, that testimonial of the reach that you've made. So according to the 2021 MFLS, 20% of spouses are unemployed and actively seeking work, and 63% of employed spouses reported they are underemployed in some way. Further, 47% of employed active duty spouse respondents reported they would be looking for a new job in the next 12 months, and around a third of those cited relocation and PCS as one of the reasons for that. Now, I bring this up, Dr. Maples, to kind of bring home the connection between these two aspects, a sense of belonging and employment in regards to military spouses. What do you think are some of the short and long-term drawbacks for military families that feel a lack of sense of belonging in the Dayton area? Do you think that employment is one of those areas that is affected?
Well, thanks again for having me on, Adriene. This is just really wonderful, and I'm so glad to be here. One of the things that when I was considering your question, one of the things that I think makes our region here in Dayton and Southwestern Ohio so unique is that we have what I like to call a salad bowl of military families. So yes, we do have Pat Air Force Base here. But when you think about Pat, only 15% of the personnel that work on that base are actually military. The rest of the force there is DOD and civilian. When you think of Ohio as a whole, has the 6th largest veteran population. So we have a very, very broad base of veteran population among our military families here in this region. And then, like CVS and Walgreens, we have a guard and reserve on every corner. So we have quite the mixed bag of military families here in our region. So when I was thinking of your question, I kind of thought, this is really an important question when you think about employment and military personnel here in our region. And some of those are caregivers. Some of those are veteran spouses. Some of those are National Guard and Reserve spouses. And thinking back to my own experience being a National Guard spouse for so many years, I remember the challenges of employment. So the things that we're facing here are, being called up to a family member that's serving, being called up and then having to leave in as early as 2 hours. I remember those days very well. I'd have to give my husband a haircut and go to the store and have him out the door in 2 hours. And then I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I have to call my employer the next day and tell him I can't come in, or I have to call my mom and see if she can come watch the kids. So these are things that we're facing, and employment has always been really difficult in those perspectives. Writing my dissertation, I remember interviewing 5 other spouses who were Guard or Reserve, and our stories were all the same. So when you think about employment in this area and resources, that's really, a big concern. I know in the 2020 survey, 36% of our military spouses here in Ohio said they were underemployed. But, it's a conversation. Ohio's doing some really great things to help combat that, making licensures free and transferable and easier to transfer. So we are doing things in the right direction, but it goes back to getting that communication out and letting spouses know that those things are available to them, and letting them know where they can get those resources and how they can tap into those.
Absolutely. And so what do you believe are some of the most impactful ways that you as a chapter director help to increase the sense of belonging, help to make, those inroads for those families, the 36%, who reported that in 2020 in your area? What are some ways that you are helping to serve those families?
That's a really great question. So, one of the things about chapter directors is we are very creative when it comes to helping get things that are tools and things that our families need out in our communities, to let them know that those resources are available. So one of the things that we do here in the Southwestern Ohio area is we do things like Tip Tuesdays. So on our Facebook page, we have Tip Tuesdays, and they share resources. One of the ones that we just shared recently was about Governor DeWine making a new resource page for military families that he launched in May for Military Appreciation Month, where they can actually go and see things about how do I transfer my license if I'm PCSing, if I'm a teacher, or someone of that in that career field, or going on in that career path, or how do I access certain things like education, or Purple Star schools, where are those schools located? All those things are shared in there. So we do things like that every Tuesday. We share a new tip. It's using our social media, just to kind of go with Matthew and kind of what he was saying. We use our social media and our page to communicate quite frequently by bringing those resources on to talk and share and align with our community. It's really difficult here because we are so spread out. We have Dayton and Cincinnati and Columbus, but then we have a lot of, and I apologize ahead of time, I've never been able to say this word, but we have a lot of rural communities out there who don't have access, or they have to drive an hour away to find things. So by bringing those things onto our social media page and sharing those, and giving the opportunity for our members to ask questions and interact with them, one-on-one in those types of settings, is really beneficial, because it brings attention and helps them align with the services they need.
Amazing. And Ty, what about you? What are some impactful ways that you as a chapter director are helping to increase the sense of belonging for the families that you serve?
I love that question. Like, what are we doing? What's going out there? Where can you go to connect and get involved? And I just want to say, honestly, the biggest thing that I think has helped really everyone that I've connected with is volunteering, and also saying yes to opportunities. Because most often, and you talked about the Facebook groups and the groups where people comment and say, oh, I'm looking for friends, I'm looking for these particular opportunities, but you've got to say yes, and you've got to get out and actually get involved. Go up to a chapter director, go up to one of the lead volunteers, and just start a conversation, right? Just say hello, just say, hey, I'm new here. Where are the spots to see? Where are the things to do for my kids outside of this? But volunteering by far is probably like the best way to kind of get connected and to build those relationships, because you find people whose passions are similar to yours. You find people that you enjoy being around. And oftentimes what happens too when you start volunteering is that you can have your kids involved. And so it's like your kids have friends, and then you have friends, and it's even better, right? When you and your friends, your kids' friends, are like the same family. So it's a big win. So I recommend by far volunteering. But here in my community, things that I'm also doing is just connecting and being a willing to collaborate with other organizations that support our military community. And it's not just military, military organizations. It can be our civilian neighbors, as we like to call them, right? Because with all 70% of our military families living off the installation, it's truly, truly important to make sure that we are connecting with our civilian neighbors. But it really is just a matter of you saying yes as our members and really kind of getting involved. So that would be the biggest tip and recommendation that I would have, Adrienne. And I'm excited that you're going to be speaking to some volunteers a little later. But personally, being a military brat and being a military spouse and being a military service member, military veteran, I think that getting involved has really helped me as well. So in all the communities and with all the places that I've been to, I've always tried to get involved one way or the other. And not only does it feel good for your heart, but it helps you to connect and build that sense of belonging. So it just kind of it has to start with you. So there are a lot of organizations, much like Blue Star Families, that are like us, but of course, we want you to come and say hi to us, right? So come and say hi to us and get connected, and don't be afraid to, to be you, to let us to see the real you and to ask those questions, those hard questions. And again, honestly, just say hello. Don't be afraid to say hello. So if you see me, I'm expecting you in Missouri to walk up and say, "Hey, Ty, you told me to come up and say hi," and I'll get you connected. So if I can't connect you or don't have the resources, 9 times out of 10, and Jerry can probably agree to this and relate to this as chapter directors, we can point you in the right direction because we're heavily connected. We pride ourselves on being connected to other resources, to everybody in the community that wants to make you feel welcome. So I know that's why we're excited for Blue Star Welcome Week that's coming up. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I'm really excited. Adrienne, again, thank you. And get connected, get involved, say yes, go to the events, volunteer.
Absolutely. And Jerry, I'm going to ask you a similar question that I asked in our last to Kayla. What do you think it's going to take to get those that are reporting this lack of belonging where they live to look to Blue Star Families chapter programs as a resource for helping them, get connected in their communities?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I'm just gonna kind of follow up on what Ty was saying is get involved and help spread the word to your fellow military families that you're connected with. Word of mouth has always been a very powerful thing. So if you go to a Blue Star Family event, we're going to, I'm taking a select number of families to the zoo on Monday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be out handing out donuts and delicious popcorn. Let others know, what your experience was like so that they too can be involved. I think that's just the biggest thing is just share your experiences. I'm very big on getting, feedback from my families that attend things. There's power in a story. So if you have a really great experience, which I know all my families do here in Ohio, have a lot of fun when we go out and do things, but it's sharing that experience with others and letting them be part of the community. One of the things that we've done really well here, we started this chapter right before the onset of COVID. We had about 500 family households at that time. We are now have grown to almost 2,200 just in this last 2 years, and it's because families have gotten involved and shared experiences, and I think that's great that they're able to do that. The other thing I will add to that is if you want to partner with us. If you're on the civilian side and you want to partner with us and you want to help and share your services and your resources to help military families, we want to partner with you. So, team up with us, partner with us, because by doing so, you're strengthening the community. And I think that's what we do here in our chapters. We bring those core Blue Star Family programs and missions all down to our grassroots level, and we want those folks to be involved.
It's a group effort, right? It takes everyone, to make it all run, to make a difference, to make an impact. Thank you so much for speaking to that point, Dr. Maples. And thank you both for joining us today and adding to this topic discussion. Make sure, if you live in an area with the Blue Star Families chapter, to take advantage of the resources they offer. All of our chapter directors are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you got to meet with 2 of them today. You already know, but just they all do such passionate work to really make an impact for military and veteran families in the communities they serve. But if you aren't in a chapter location, you can check out the great community partners and resources that we are also aligned with at bluestarfam.org. So don't worry. Hopefully a chapter is coming near you soon. But until then, we have resources for you also. All right. So we have an app. We have an organization that's created programs. So what is left? I think our next set of guests may represent a possible solution. And Ty kind of alluded to this. So next we have Isabel Fetterman, and she is an active duty Army spouse and Missouri chapter volunteer. Welcome, Isabel. And we have Misty Gilbert, a Coast Guard spouse, mother of 2, currently living in Monterey, California. And she says advocating for military families is a passion of hers. She loves volunteering for Blue Star Families as well as other military organizations. And thank you for being here, Misty. All right, ladies. Well, can you give us a little background? When and why did you start volunteering? Misty, we can start with you.
All right, thank you so much for having me. I started volunteering in 2019. I was in Charleston, South Carolina at the time, and I was my husband's unit ombudsman. And what I kept hearing over and over again from people, especially spouses, they were really just craving interaction with other military families and opportunities to make friends, and they just really didn't know how to go about it. So I've been following Blue Star Families on social media for a few years, and I loved what I saw, what everyone was doing, and thought it would be the perfect thing to bring to the area. So when I saw the opportunity for the Military Spouse Appreciation Day event, I decided to give it a try. We ended up having such a great turnout and response from the community. So from there, it turned into a well-known monthly Coffee Connect event for military families in a local Starbucks, to just have that safe, easy, and free place to meet others.
Fantastic, Misty. And yeah, what about you, Isabel?
I started volunteering with Blue Star Families literally like 2 days after, or a day after I got to Missouri. It was September 26th of 2021. And why I started volunteering, I just wanted to, and it's been an awesome actually opportunity. Ever since then, I was able to meet new people. I feel welcome and belonged in a place where I've heard nothing but horrible things. And thanks to Blue Star Family and Ty for giving me the opportunity. I just love it. And it's like amazing.
Well, fantastic. Can you speak a little bit then, Isabel, to how it has impacted your experiences in your families? You spoke a little bit about, a place that many people say is horrible, and it's turned into a place that you feel like you belong. So if you could speak a little bit about how, volunteering has impacted your experiences where you are in your family, and what do you think those same opportunities could provide for others looking for their sense of belonging in that community?
The experience that it's impacted on myself and my family to where my husband actually wants to extend here at Fort Leonard Wood. And he's actually, when he wants to retire, he's actually thinking of retiring here. And for me, it's to where I was able to take what people made it so horrible to a better thing, like how everybody calls it for Lost in the Woods, and to where it's like Ty says, it's like loving Fort Leonard Wood pretty much. I can't remember what word she used, but I love it. And it's not a bad place, actually. It's how you make of it. And for those that come to Fort Leonard Wood, like I put on, it's like it will help them like plug in, and yes, Fort Loving the Woods, there we go. And you get to meet new people through the community by volunteering with them. And I have met so many wonderful people here, both military and non-military families.
Yeah, that's phenomenal how you've been able to transform, how you feel about where you're living just through getting involved. Misty, what about you? How has volunteering impacted your experiences in your family?
So while I initially did this to bring it to all the families I was hearing feedback from, it was really the start of discovering my own passion to work with military families and to get out of my comfort zone and put on these types of events. It's given me such really purpose in my life and in the military family community. I've since last year, we moved from Charleston to Monterey, California, and just being a part of Blue Star Families and volunteering helped me be able to quickly meet other people and really immerse myself into the community and get a sense of belonging right away, which is a huge help, as we all know. And I've just met so many amazing people, both in the military community and in the civilian communities, through volunteering with Blue Star Families. And it's really been some of my most favorite experiences as a military spouse.
I love to hear that. And as a military spouse, I can completely agree. So we've heard about new social networks created by military spouses for the military community for the sole purpose of connectivity and building, relationships. And we're here because of the annual Military Family Lifestyle Survey that gauges a sense of belonging, among other hardships that military families endure. The results of that survey inform the types of programs that the chapter directors that we just spoke with, Ty, Jerry, provide. But I want to know what the key element is to making all of that work. What do you both think that is? Misty, do you want to answer?
So the Military Family Lifestyle Survey is one of my favorite things to really talk about when I'm introducing others to Blue Star Families, because there's just nothing else really like it. I think we've all talked about things we wish we could change in this lifestyle, but a lot of times just venting to our peers is kind of as far as that goes. And then we feel, unheard. But this is how I feel we can really have our voices heard, and by those that have the resources and the power to change things. So I would just encourage everyone, take a little time out of your day. I think it took me about 30 minutes to do the survey, to take it and really ultimately help improve our futures as military families.
All right. Isabel, what about you?
For the survey, this was my first time ever taking the survey, but I do love that you can put on there what we can work on, what is, what the most thing that people are dealing with. Like mine is childcare. That's the one thing that myself and a few other military spouses, are dealing with, is trying to find childcare, especially one that doesn't want to charge you literally like an arm and a leg. But I do encourage, people to take that survey and get the word out there to figure out what can we get help on.
Absolutely. And do you, either of you have, any words of encouragement for those out there who are kind of timid or are nervous about getting involved and becoming volunteers for service organizations like Blue Star Families? Is there anything you would say to them to kind of get them to take that step?
Oh, definitely. Come and volunteer. Not it gets you out, especially moving to a new place. It helps with your mental health. It helps, just helping others makes you feel amazing as well.
Misty, any words of encouragement for those who are, nervous about making the commitment to become volunteers?
Absolutely. Like Isabel said, it does so much for yourself, like just getting out there. I don't think you'll ever regret raising your hand to volunteer. The people you meet, you would never get to meet them. And it just really gets you involved in the community and a purpose. And if anyone is in the Monterey area, feel free to reach out. I would love to collab with you.
Love it. Yes. Thank you, Misty and Isabel. We certainly appreciate your viewpoints and experiences as volunteers, and the words of encouragement that you've provided for those out there who maybe have thought about making the leap, but have been nervous. You've showed the benefits. Your personal experiences are so important. And each person we've spoken to today has been a military spouse or a caregiver or, a veteran. And so I think it's noteworthy that we've made sure to represent, each aspect. We each bring a different set of needs to the table. Isabel saying childcare is important for her, and yet each of us has found a sense of belonging and connectivity through helping others, and recognizing that the survey also is a great tool for us to get our needs out there. So thank you to our viewers for joining us today. We would love to hear from you about some of the ways that you've connected to your community and found your own sense of belonging. Please, 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 please leave us a comment in the chat. And remember, the 2022 Annual Military Family Lifestyle Survey is fielding right now. We are in the last week of fielding, but there is still time for you to make sure that your voice is heard. And finally, if you're looking for ways to be a change maker and to do your part to welcome others to your community, join in this year's Blue Star Welcome Week, where we can each pitch in to ensure all military-connected families feel a sense of belonging where they live. Visit bluestarwelcomeweek.org for more information. Thank you again, and from everyone at Blue Star Families, have a great day.